Isekai anime are known for transporting characters to fantastical worlds filled with action, adventure, and magic. However, some focus more on character development, offering an emotional journey as protagonists grow and evolve in new realities. In this video, we will explore 7 Isekai anime that stand out for their focus on character development. Before we start, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more content like this to you. 7th, Re:Zero. When Subaru found himself in a fantasy world, he thought he was going to be just like every other Isekai protagonist, overpowered and going on epic adventures, but little did he know. Subaru's experience takes a different and slightly dark path. He dies soon after entering this fantasy world and discovers he has a unique ability called Return by Death, which allows him to rewind time to a set point after dying. Subaru's deaths are traumatic, and they force him to repeatedly experience failure while trying to save those he cares about. Reliving his death gives him the chance to redo events while retaining his memories of what led to his death. Inasmuch as the other characters face little to significant character development, emphasis is placed on Subaru's character development because he is the protagonist of this anime. Subaru starts as overconfident and optimistic, believing his new life in the fantasy world will follow typical Isekai tropes where everything works out for the protagonist. However, he quickly learns that his choices have real, often devastating, consequences. As the anime progresses, fans see how Subaru is forced to confront his weaknesses, like his arrogance, emotional instability, and dependence on others. Through multiple cycles of death and failure, Subaru matures into a more self-aware, determined individual who begins to understand the weight of responsibility. 6th, the rising of the shield hero. Not everyone has good intentions towards an individual, and Naofumi learns this the hard way after the princess of Melmarak, Multi, accuses him of sexual assault. This accusation caused the people of Melmarak to alienate Naofumi and deny him the basic resources he needs to survive and perform his heroic duties. Naofumi was summoned to this world to be the shield hero, one of the 4 cardinal heroes, and is seen as the weakest of them all. Naofumi's encounter with Multi and the aftermath shaped him significantly. He developed trust issues, lost hope in humanity, and was forced to fend for himself in a world where he knew no one, had no resources, and no one trusted him. His friendly and welcoming nature becomes cynical and bitter. As the anime develops, so does Naofumi as he learns to trust again thanks to Raphtalia. Naofumi goes from a betrayed outcast to a determined and compassionate leader who protects the innocent, despite the world turning against him. 5th, Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. Most Isekai anime focus on everything going well for the protagonist, but Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions takes a slightly different turn. The protagonist of this anime, Haruhiro, and others find themselves in a fantasy world fighting for their lives without memories of how they got here. This Isekai anime focuses on survival as Haruhiro and the rest are forced to join a guild and fight monsters to survive. They have no overpowered abilities, and their journey is focused on staying alive and not saving the world like most Isekai. Haruhiro is forced to take charge after their leader dies during an ambush. His character arc revolves around him accepting Minato's death, coming to terms with his new responsibilities as the leader, learning to trust his instincts, and leading his friends through increasingly dangerous situations. 4th, Mushoku Tensei. Rhodos was once a man in his mid-30s who lived a miserable life in Japan as a shut-in with no friends. After being met by the famous truck that takes characters to a fantasy world, this mid-30s shut-in man is reborn in a world of swords and magic as Rudius Greyrat. With his memories from his previous life intact, Rhodos is determined to live a better life, using his knowledge to grow into a better person and master the magical abilities of his new world. Rudius' development cannot be missed as he works hard to overcome the things he struggled with in his previous life and his new life. Rhodos learned to stand up for himself against bullies, something he was not able to do in his previous life, and also stand up for others, as he helped Sylphiette when she was being bullied. Rudius has some flaws from his previous life, which he still exhibits, as he is still a pervert, but he learns to treat others with more respect and empathy. Rudius seeks to correct the mistakes of his former self while forging meaningful relationships with those around him. 3rd, Konosuba. Konosuba is known for its comedic approach to Isekai. This anime follows the story of Kazuma, who is given the chance to be reincarnated in a fantasy world. His excitement quickly turns to frustration when the goddess in charge of his reincarnation, Aqua, tells him he is allowed to bring one item with him. Out of frustration and thinking it would be a smart choice, he chooses Aqua and thus begins the chaotic and comedic mess that is called his life. Kazuma soon finds out that Aqua is selfish, incompetent, and a debt magnet, as she causes more problems than she solves. As the anime progresses, Aqua undergoes slight development as she learns to be more considerate and less selfish, and because of her nature, Kazuma learns to be patient. Kazuma expected life in this world to be easy, with everything simply within reach, but he came to realize that just like in his previous world, he had to work for things. However, he learns to adapt despite his laziness, taking charge in difficult situations, and becoming more competent as a leader. With his dysfunctional party, someone has to be sane to keep others in check, and Kazuma grows by learning how to deal with them and survive in this new world. Second, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Slimes are the lowest of creatures, considered the weakest, but Rimuru broke the stereotype by becoming a slime that monsters feared and leaders of nations wanted to meet and make an ally. Rimuru, upon reincarnation, was blessed with powers, particularly the predator ability, that allowed him to absorb and mimic the abilities of creatures and objects he consumes. Armed with these new abilities, he sets out to create a peaceful society for monsters and beings of all kinds. From the onset, fans understand that Rimuru is a selfless person who cares about the well-being of others. His character development focuses on his role as a leader. Rimuru evolves from a carefree adventurer to a diplomatic leader who makes difficult decisions to protect his people, especially when faced with threats that challenge his ideals of peace. First, Ascendance of a Bookworm. A world where there are no books would have probably been Urano's worst nightmare. This avid book lover dies after a pile of books falls on top of her. Luckily for Urano, her life does not end there, as she gets the chance to be reincarnated as Mine in another world. However, her new life is not as easy and convenient as her previous one. Mine is born in a medieval era in the body of a frail young girl and, more unfortunately, where books are scarce and expensive. This situation, especially the latter, can be considered a nightmare for a book lover like Urano, but she does not let her situation stop her as she is on a quest to create books and spread literacy despite the challenges posed by her new world. However, her frail body and her being a commoner make her quest incredibly difficult. When this anime started, Mine had no intentions of sharing her love for books with those around her, but the condition that makes her frail caused her to seek help from those around her, forcing her to depend on them and ultimately see the need to extend her love for books. Mine realizes that her desire for books can also benefit others, leading her to become more selfless and community-focused. And with that, the video comes to an end. If I forgot to mention any anime, leave it in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos.